It's actually a very serious academic study into which handpan scales are the best.
So because it's a very serious study of handpan scales, we've created a tier system in order to appropriately rank those scales according to which one you should buy.
Obviously, we're just talking rubbish. We're just being silly.
No, this is advice.
No, is it? If it's pants, we're just saying we don't love it. It's pan... Inoffensive. It's inoffensive.
Handy, works well.
Hand-y. Good. Like the whole underneath, it's a goo, it's good.
And
fantastic.
Alright, shall we dive in? Shall we dive in?
Yeah. Celtic.
Okay,
so a Celtic is like a Kurd, but it doesn't have the fourth, it doesn't have a B flat, say, if it's in D. So it means that it's flipped over the other way. This is confusing if you're trying to follow a handpan tutorial online and we've got a Kurd, because you have to put your hands the opposite direction.
But not confusing if they follow your very good notation system, because then they can just refer to their own diagrams.
But if you're just following my hands and you're going to leave a YouTube comment about how you don't understand it and it's not working. You didn't use the diagram. Often, I think it's favoured by beginners because it's got one less note, so it's got, and it doesn't have that note that those two notes are really close together. So the A and the B flat, so this note and this note, they're only a semitone apart.
Sounds like this.
Right.
Whereas on a Celtic, the two notes next to each other.
The good thing about a Celtic is it's harder to go wrong. It's harder to make that clangy clang sound. But that does mean that you can't explore all of the different ranges of different styles so easily. And if you do want to play in that major key, which you can do on a minor pan, it's a bit harder as well because you don't have that note.
It doesn't have as much tension and character that a D chord can have.
Woohoo! Yeah,
Very
I
much.
agree.
Tension and release. Yeah, I like a Celtic, but I enjoy playing in the Celtic scale on my D chord.
Yeah, I think because Kurds are so common, Celtics just feel like they're kind of lacking something. I think it's inoffensive. I do think it's inoffensive. And I think you can play really beautiful things on it.
Totally.
But it's because you can't have that clashiness. You kind of can't go through inoffensive.
I think the reason I like it a bit more is because it's got that like folky, old schooly like sound.
It's exactly inoffensive, I think you're right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. Next.
I don't know what this one is, it's a B-Ros.
Oh.
Every time I play this, Amy's got one of these, every time I play it, I'm just baffled by the whole thing.
Which is hilarious because it's called the B-Ros, because Ros stands for, it's a RAV scale, it stands for RAV Universal Scale. Like they recommend it for beginners.
I can't do it. I don't understand it. I've tried to understand it. I even tried to make an explanation tutorial video and I just was like, but I'm confused. Yeah, it's hard to find the home.
There are kind of two homes on it. Like the center note is one home and then the first note is another home and it completely shifts the sound, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But not beginner friendly in my opinion, I don't think.
Was that inoffensive as well?
I don't know. I really haven't fallen in love with it.
It does offend us both, clearly. Is that
Yeah, maybe it's just because we haven't made the effort to
how long have you had it?
Like 7 years.
This has inspired me, okay? I'm gonna unpick the B-Ros. I'm gonna understand it.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a tutorial video for how to do it.
You're gonna make it from pants to pantastic. I know we're putting in the pants tier, but if you want a discount, link in the But the problem with raps is that they're never extended.
Yeah, true.
Apart from the little double ding thing, you can't have bottom notes. I mean, you probably could.
Yeah, why not? Right, why don't you make extensions?
No, because I think it's the fact that it's so closed that makes it vibrate in the way that it does, because it's got no goo or anything, has it? That also, I think the B-Ros extended would be pretty cool, but
probably.
Can't do that on a RAV.
Yeah. So for your 5% off,
Moving on.
On to the good stuff.
Isabai.
Or Sabai generally. It's a major scale. It's got every single note that you would want, so it's got one of everything and 2 or 3 of some other things.
What? It's got one of everything.
Yeah, like an E, F sharp,
And
G
it's got
sharp.
2 or 3 of what?
Some other things, like E's. It's got 3 E's.
Right, okay. Not bananas.
No bananas. Yeah, I use mine for covers all the time.
What I like about the Isabai, and because in the other video on my channel we talked about the oxalis and how it's lovely but it's very major.
Yeah.
The Isabai, by definition, is very major, but the layout of it makes you want to play in a more kind of melancholic, nostalgic kind of way. Like if you're not just playing the major scale, actually it lends its naturally you end up playing quite interesting things.
I've got a mad problem with an E spy though. I've just thought of. Right. So chord 1 is annoying.
Yeah. Hate it.
You have to stretch, so you have
Hate
like
it.
B, E, G sharp, and then the other B is up here.
But that's why you end up playing in that more kind of in-between place.
I agree. But nonetheless, fantastic. Yeah, for sure. I love it. And you loved it so much that you saw me playing it.
I did. I copied Rosie before I even knew who Rosie really... But I didn't know who you were, but I didn't know you.
Oh, God, this chair's so difficult to not spin on. How do you...
I just spin.
You just make a video like this?
Yeah, it's great.
La Serena. Ooh. Ooh.
I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship.
I agree, yeah. Go on.
I love listening to La Sirena. I just love it.
Mm.
And every time somebody plays it, I'm completely entranced.
Mm.
Every time I try to play it, it just sounds bad. The other thing I don't like about La Sirena, I feel like there's no real standard layout yet.
Yeah,
They're
that's
all
true.
slightly
That's
different.
Really annoying.
And the point of a handpan name is that it's referring to the layout rather than the actual scale. So the fact that there are so many different La Sirenas just throws me off. But one of them, I'm gonna mention Mumi again, whatever her layout was that she brought to Florida when we were there that time, I fell in love with La Sirena playing that particular pen.
Was it because of the extensions?
Yeah.
You need to extend a La Serena.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you need to, because it's all about that like bass, like boom, 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 like those sorts of things to really like root it and to give you different options, because then you can kind of go to the major or you can go to the minor or you can stay in that La Serena feeling. If we're talking about an unextended La Serena, is it even handy? I think it's handy. It is still nice.
It is handy. I think it's offensive.
That's not a category.
no, I'm saying we can't put it in inoffensive because it's such a Marmite scale.
I think it's handy.
Handy, alright.
Is it good?
I mean, yeah, when other people play it. Oh, but unextended, no.
No. Okay, and unextended. By extended, we mean filling in the gap between the ding and the first note, generally.
Mm-hmm.
It can be other extensions, but generally that's a really helpful thing. I'm going to call it handy because it is beautiful. Played not by either of us.
You know, I've just had I completely zoned out while you're talking there,
Thanks.
sorry. I just had the realisation of how incredibly niche this is.
Did you just
We're
realise?
doing right now. Who's going to watch this? Low pygmy.
Ooh, I love a low pygmy.
I do love a low pygmy. That was my second scale that I ever owned.
Again, it's one of those ones that's got fewer notes. It's based on a minor scale. It's got fewer notes. The fact that it repeats round and round means it's really easy to write really nice melodies. I will say, with an F low pygmy, there's like the F low pygmy chord progression, or the low. Like there's like 3 or 4 chords that sound really good in an order. That whenever I pick up a pygmy, I'm just like, oh, this sounds great. This is really new and original.
Actually, that's worsened with extensions.
Yeah,
because then the bass notes really root that chord progression that everyone plays. Same with the pygmy rather than the low pygmy.
Yeah. Nonetheless, A, that is a beautiful progression.
Yeah.
And B, like, there's only a limited number of chords in the world. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. But now that I've played an extended low pygmy, and most low pygmy extensions actually add a note to the scale.
Yeah. A step outside of those ones that you find on the top.
Now I can't really go back.
I find it inoffensive.
Is that offensive?
Yeah. With extensions, I would say it's good.
Brilliant.
And in fact, if you think that I'm being too rude about this extensions rule, put it in the comments. And
we'll make an
extensions video. Unextended, inoffensive.
Inoffensive. At the top of inoffensive.
Yeah. Put it like
in between.
In between it. Yeah.
Because I feel like logically that's where I want to put it, but emotionally I'm just a bit like, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
However, F2 low pygmy, even though it's the same notes, even unextended, I think deserves to be higher in ranking.
Brings the bass. So the number next to a letter, so like F2 or an F3, is how high or low it is. So an F5 would be really high, and like an F1 would be like... So F2 means that it's just got more depth and weight in it already.
I mean, I remember when the F2s first kind of arrived, and I remember I was at a little mini gathering and someone arrived with, I think it might have even been an E2, and it was the first low pan that I'd ever played, and everyone was like, oh, Amy, you've got to play it, and I put it on my lap, and it had this plug in the goo
Yeah.
for the bass, and I was like playing all the high notes, like kind of teasing everyone, and then as soon as you played that bass, it was just like, oh, it was amazing. And you kind of don't get that same feeling now anymore because we kind of take it for granted a little bit. But it was so magical when that first happened. It is just the vibrations and the sound and the amount of nuance in just the ding. Like, you can play a whole piece on just the ding of an F2.
Okay, yeah, we like that. We're big fans of this.
I think that might be fantastic.
No.
I think it might have to be.
I can't put it in fantastic. I
Can
can't
you
put a
not?
pygmy in fantastic.
Why not?
Because I just want all those other notes in between. I think it's good. I think it's a high good.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'm okay
High
with that.
good. Very high.
Very high good.
Well, there you have it. Did we miss out your favourite scale? Let us know in the comments and we will try and maybe make another one. And if we've offended you and your favourite handpan, I'm really sorry.
I'm not.